When did you realize your childhood wasn't normal? At age 7, I thought all dads kept locked freezers in the basement. Then my friend asked why mine had toe tags dangling inside. The first cracks in my childhood reality appeared during show and tell. While other kids brought baseball cards or pet hamsters, I proudly displayed my father's special ice cubes, the ones with floating flecks of gold that shimmered when you held them up to light. Mrs. Jenkins's face turned the color of curdled milk when I explained how Daddy let me stir them into our Saturday morning orange juice for extra vitamins. That afternoon, the principal called me into her office to ask gentle questions about our unusual family traditions. The next day, she resigned abruptly. Her replacement never looked me in the eye. Our house operated on rules that made perfect sense to me. The basement door stayed locked until Dad came home from the hospital. He was a surgeon, which explained the bloodstains on his scrubs. Mom's jam-making weekends required us to stay in our rooms with headphones on. The industrial-grade blender sometimes ran for 8 hours straight. I learned to ignore the thumps from the garage, just like I ignored the way our golden retrievers kept disappearing every few months. They went to live on a farm, Dad would say, ruffling my hair with fingers that always smelled faintly of ammonia. The summer I turned 9, my best friend Emily slept over. We built a blanket fort in the living room when she suddenly froze, her s'more halfway to her mouth. "What's that noise?" she whispered. The rhythmic scraping from the basement sounded like Dad's bone saw, but faster. Hungrier. When I cheerfully explained it was just Daddy organizing his tools, Emily called her parents in tears. They picked her up so fast she left her sleeping bag behind. Dad burned it in the incinerator that night. While humming Camptown Races, high school peeled back another layer. In biology lab, we dissected fetal pigs. When Mr. Thompson praised my surgical precision, I casually mentioned practicing on the specimens Dad brought home. The way his coffee cup shattered on the floor should have been my first clue. Later, the school counselor showed me Rorschach ink blots. I saw what any surgeon's kid would: perfectly bisected organs, the curve of a rib cage, the delicate lacework of pulmonary veins. She closed her notebook with trembling hands and suggested I might benefit from art therapy. The full truth arrived on my 18th birthday. Dad handed me a keyring with 3 keys: house, basement, and freezer. "Time you learned the family business," he said, his breath reeking of bourbon and something metallic. The basement walls were lined with what looked like industrial meat lockers, each labeled with dates going back 20 years. The newest one bore last week's date and the name of a missing college student whose poster I'd seen at the bus stop. Inside hung a headless torso, the skin peeled back like a biology diagram to showcase the musculature. On the workbench, Dad's collection of special ice cubes glowed faintly in their specimen jars. What shocked me wasn't the bodies. It was the meticulous photo albums documenting every step of my indoctrination. Me at 5, grinning next to a Halloween skeleton. That wasn't plastic. Me at 12, unknowingly wearing a necklace made from someone's molar. The final page showed Dad watching me sleep, a syringe glinting in his hand. The caption read, "Nearly ready for her first solo harvest." The police found 17 freezers when they raided our house. Dad's trial made national news. The surgeon of suburbia, they called him.
What the headlines didn't mention was the 18th freezer, the one I'd discovered hidden behind the wine cellar.
What the headlines didn't mention was the 18th freezer, the one I discovered hidden behind the wine cellar, empty except for a single jar labeled Jenkins Principal First Attempt. The toe tag inside matched the one my 7-year-old self had asked about. Now I work in funeral services. People say it's remarkable how comfortable I am with corpses. Sometimes when I'm alone in the embalming room, I catch myself humming Camptown Races. Old habits die harder than Dad's victims.